Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has lifted the coronavirus state of emergency in Tokyo and 4 other remaining areas following a sharp decline in cases. But officials have warned caution and that it is still necessary to prevent another wave. Dennis Liu joins us live from Japan. Dennis.
Hello, good evening, Alma.
Good evening,
and
Dennis.
to all our televiewers tonight. Here are my news updates. Japan lifted a nationwide state of emergency over the coronavirus on Monday, gradually reopening the world's third largest economy. But government officials warned caution was still necessary to prevent another wave. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe told a nationally televised news conference said that very stringent criteria for lifting the state of emergency have been met. Compared with hard-hit areas in Europe, the United States, Russia, and Brazil, Japan has been spared the worst of the pandemic, with 16,581 infections and 830 deaths. The number of new infections has fallen from a peak of around 700 per day to just a few dozen nationally. Tokyo reported 8 cases of infection on Monday. The emergency was lifted for much of the country last week, but the government opted to wait before removing the measures in the capital and surrounding areas, as well as hard-hit northern Hokkaido. Abe lauded Japan's success in flattening the curve, saying the country was able to show the strength of the so-called Japan model. But he warned that people would have to adapt to a new normal and continue to avoid the 3 C's: closed spaces, crowded places, and close contact. There does not appear to be a single clear reason why the pandemic was not hit Japan as hard as other comparable countries. High levels of hygiene and general health, the habit of removing shoes indoors, widespread mask usage, and bowing as a greeting rather than shaking hands or kissing, all have been advanced as possible reasons. But analysts agree there has been no silver bullet. Japan has come under fire for a relatively low level of testing, with around 270,000 carried out, the lowest per capita rate in the group of 7 advanced economies, according to Worldometer. The Japanese authorities insist that mass testing was never their strategy, as cases remained low enough to rely on aggressive contact tracing to contain clusters. Nevertheless, testing has been ramped up in recent weeks as authorities warn of a possible next wave of the virus that could overwhelm their previous strategy. Back to you, Alma.
Okay, so can you take us to the phases, Dennis? So what can we expect from the lifting of emergency throughout the nation?
After the emergency is lifted, the government will establish a transitional period and assess the infection situation every 3 weeks, meaning requests for people to stay at home and avoid large gatherings may be eased only gradually. Economic Revitalization Minister Yasutoshi Nishimura said the government will continue to ask people to refrain from crossing prefectural borders until the end of the month. The panel of infectious disease and public health experts is considering the number of newly reported cases over the past week, the availability of medical care, and the capacity to provide virus tests and monitor the spread of the virus. One benchmark is whether new infections have fallen below 0.5 per 100,000 people in the past week, and all but 2 prefectures, Kanagawa and Hokkaido, have cleared that threshold. Meanwhile, Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike has unveiled a 3-stage plan to relax restrictions imposed over the coronavirus, allowing restaurants and eateries to stay open longer and schools to gradually resume classes. In the first phase, which will likely begin Tuesday, museums and libraries will open while restaurants and eateries will be allowed to stay open until 10 p.m. later than 8 p.m. as permitted under the emergency declaration. The second phase may begin by the end of the month, Metropolitan Government sources said, enabling more facilities such as movie theaters and shops selling products other than daily necessities to reopen. However, karaoke parlors, live music venues, and gyms, places where the risk of group transmission is high, will be asked to remain closed. Alma?
All right. Thank you very much, Dennis, for your updates. Thank you, Dennis and EBC Japan Bureau.
Oh, here in Tokyo, out of the 5.6, by the way,
Yes.
million gift masks, we just got our share of the controversial Aveno mask by Post today.
Oh.
2 cloth masks per household, as what the government wanted everyone to stay healthy, wear mask when talking and going out.
Okay.
Alma?
Okay, so every household gets two masks?
Yes, that's right, Alma.
Okay, so even if you're a 4 family member, you just get 2 masks? Or each member get 2 masks?
That's right. But this is a cloth type of mask, so it's
Okay.
washable.
Ah, it's washable.
Yes. And it's a little shorter than the ordinary mask. A little shorter, but yes. It's much thicker, though.
Okay. So do you get that every month?
No, just once.
Just once.
Just
Okay.
this time. Just
Okay.
this time, Alma.
All right. Thank you, Dennis, for your updates. And thank you for showing us the mask. Thank you,
You're
Japan
welcome,
Bureau.
Alma. Reporting live from Tokyo, Japan, this is Dennis Lu. We live in interesting times.